you. I wanted to just go back to your comparison between this and the PPP loans,
Sure.
because what Republicans and critics are saying is that there's a difference between those decisions being voted on by Congress and those loans that turned into grants being by and large for to cover businesses that were shut down by the government involuntarily because of a natural disaster versus students who willfully took out their loans and are now unable for whatever reason to repay them. There is a difference there.
Well, I would say both actions are based on laws that Congress passed. We are implementing a law that Congress passed, actually a Republican Congress and Republican president in 2003, the HEROES Act. And again, that's the exact same legal authority that the previous administration used to put a pause on student loan payments. That's the authority that we're using in this instance. So, we are acting consistent with the law. And look, to go back to my earlier point, we're not against PPP. We're supportive of the idea that small businesses should get relief. The point is that over the past year, we have been forgiving hundreds of billions of dollars worth of loans to business owners. And remember, that program was stood up very quickly. Money went out the door quickly, and Congress could have come back at any time and said, we should look a little bit more carefully at these loans. Maybe we shouldn't be providing forgiveness to people if they clearly did extraordinarily well during the pandemic. Remember, these are really low interest loans. Maybe we should just make them pay back their loan at a low interest rate rather than forgiving it. None of that happened. We didn't hear from a single Republican pushing for any of that. Everyone was on board with forgiving up to $10 million in loans. And so all we're saying is that it's hard to credit those same people who are highly supportive of that program and that amount of debt forgiveness, turning around and saying that forgiving a fraction of that amount for working people, not business owners, but working people, somehow that crosses the line over into socialism. That's not how we view it.
What's the difference, though, between, I guess, how are you justifying using a 2003 law that was designed to help military families for this purpose, where you're now helping bail out people who took out loans and cannot pay them? Do you view people who can't pay their debt as heroes, like those who are in our armed services and were fighting after 9/11?
Yeah. I mean, look, I think, as the president has said, there is a real problem here with the burden that student loan debt places on people from low-income and middle-income families. We used to have a system where a Pell Grant, which is federal support to low-income families, used to cover 80% of the cost of going to a four-year public college. And as of today, it covers 33% of the cost. So what are people supposed to do? They want to get a degree. They're being told that's the right thing to do. They think it's going to help them.
Universities. Why not build in something to make sure that borrowing moving forward is limited, or that universities don't just ratchet up the cost?
Yeah, I'm glad that you brought that up because I want to address it. Remember, the president put out a three-part plan on this, and the third part of it was accountability for colleges. And it detailed a few things. Number one, unlike the previous administration, which loosened the reins on colleges and universities, rolled back rules that were intended to hold them accountable for raising costs, this president and this administration reinstituted an enforcement office at the Department of Education that goes after these types of colleges. It kicked out an accreditor, which is a private company that basically says that this institution, this college, is good enough, so they should get federal loans. This accreditor allowed colleges like ITT and Corinthian to get access to federal loans, and then those colleges defrauded people, defrauded students. So this administration responded by kicking that accreditor out of the program. They're not going to be able to accredit colleges anymore. And I would note that a central element of the president's community college plan was accountability, so that neither colleges or states that took that money could raise prices on students unfairly. So all of that said, I think that we believe that the department should have even more authority to go after bad actors and to hold colleges accountable, and we're eager to work with Congress to advance any proposals along those lines.
And